Good morning. It's Sunday morning. What happened to Saturday, you may be asking? Well, YouTube mobile phone upload does not work. Made a video yesterday, thought, oh, this is supposed to work now. I'll make it on my phone. Better picture quality, probably the same sound quality to be honest, because it's the same microphone. But it has now been uploading for 18 hours and it has still not uploaded. So I'm going to assume it's not going to. I'll just leave it. It might happen, but it does mean I'm going to talk about what I spoke about yesterday, show you today's orders, and unfortunately yesterday's orders have vanished into that video. So unless I can find a way of chopping it out and somehow getting it onto my wee Chromebook to upload, they're gone for now. But there was some good sales yesterday. Anyway, today there's a topic I want to mention off the back of the charity shop video I did the other day. But first, we'll just look at a few orders, shall we? Quite a few non-book orders going out today. Not a huge amount, but a few nonetheless. And the first one of those is the Warriors for PS2. That went for £8. You find somewhere to stack these once I've looked at them. And then we had Monty Python box set, sealed, new, and that went for £12 and 4p. So a kind of odd couple of sales to start the day. I don't sell many non-book media because I've got so few listed, but they went nonetheless. Right, this bundle is a bit odd as well. So we've got The Fellowship of the Ring and The Hobbit by Mr. Tolkien, and then 3 copies of Lord Loss by Darren Shan. So somebody wanted 3 copies of this. They've got 3 copies of this. That's all the copies I had, and those 5 went for £13 and 14p. Next, a book on its own. My favourite author at the moment, Dilly Court. This is The Mistletoe Seller, and that's sold on its own for £6.99. Let's have a look at one more non-book order, which is Fritz Reiner Conducts. So live in stereo, really good quality recordings. They're very collectible, very popular, and they can sell for an awful lot of money. I had this listed for like 25 quid. Somebody made me an offer for 18, so I just took it. I've had it for a wee while, so let's just get it out the door and shifted. So 18 quid for that little box set. Living stereo. If you see that, it's always worth picking it up because it might be worth something. Anyway, charity shops. We're getting back to charity shops. Now, here's a scenario. You're walking down the high street, you pop into JD Sports and they've got a nice pair of trainers, and you buy them, you take them home, you discover that they're counterfeit, they're fakes. Not a good scenario. What can you do? What would you do? What would that mean to the shop that you bought them from? I've used JD Sports as an example. I do not believe that they sell counterfeits or fakes at all. I'm just using that as an example. But that would be quite a serious thing. Trading standards could get involved. You know, there'd be all sorts of things going on. So why do high street charity stores, for want of a better way of describing them, you know, massive chains, big businesses, why do they get away with displaying and selling counterfeit goods? And you can go into just about any of these chains and you will probably find at least one item which is counterfeit. Football shirts, trainers, bags, all sorts are in there where they've got fakes, and they probably have an inkling that they're fakes, so ignorance isn't even part of it. But even if there was just ignorance, it still shouldn't be allowed. So an example, Burberry Trainer. So these were a tenner in Oxfam, right? So they look good, they're probably not real, but I'll grab them anyway and take a chance and do my research. So they nearly match up completely with the originals. The stitching's all really neat, it's all really tidy, really well made, but the Burberry across the back, everything I could find for the original of this model has got like a kind of raised plastic rubbery piece there with Burberry on it, rather than it just printed in. So even though this is a very good copy, I'm like 99% sure it is a fake and a copy. I've spent a tenner on it, can't do anything with it. If I was just going to wear them, that might be okay, but even having said that, why does a big high street name such as Oxfam get away with selling counterfeit goods. I remember, you know, over the years where they started clamping down on these, you know, markets getting raided, small stores getting raided, all sorts of people having all their stock taken away, checked, burnt, destroyed because it was all counterfeit. You know, they face huge fines and penalties, yet charity shops continue to do it. Several times I've picked up football shirts which have looked, you know, perfectly good, perfectly fine, and only when I've got back and had a chance to get a really proper look at them, you know, start looking up labels and comparing, I've realised that they're counterfeit, they're fakes, they're not real. So it's not cost me a lot of money to do that, but it really undermines your confidence when you're going in and buying stuff. And I'm not talking about as a reseller here, I'm just talking about as Joe Punter off the street going in and looking for, you know, those nice deals that you can't afford. I mean, I can't afford to go out and pay 70 quid for a football shirt. You know, I don't wear them, but my son does. But if I see one for 5, 10, 15 pounds that's, you know, one of his teams, good condition, the right size, I would pick that up. But I'm really, really wary because I'm going to get back, he's going to look at it and go, oh, it's not real, I'm not wearing it. That's it out the window. So what do you think about that? Charity shops selling fakes, should they be allowed to get away with that as no other high street store would? Or should there be more responsibility, more accountability when they're getting these kind of high-end items, putting them out on their shelves? Should they have to provide some sort of guarantee of authenticity, or just not put them out there if they don't know? I don't know. Tell me what you think. There is always the risk that if they stop putting out the high-end stuff, just in case, then it's gone. And from what we were talking about the other day, probably, if that was real, they would have sent it to eBay and sold it on eBay rather than putting it on the shop shelf. So that suggests again that they're pretty confident it ain't real. So they stick it out on the shop shelf for a tenner instead of selling it on eBay for like £200 plus. So yeah, what do you think? Should that be allowed? Anyway, let's get on with some more sales because that's what I'm really here to do. Right. Robert Harris, Imperium, Lustrum, Dictator. So it's the Cicero trilogy. Really good books. I have read all of these and I really, really, really enjoyed them. Good condition, as ever. That's always what we're looking for. 2 of them are in really, really good condition. One of them's in good to very good condition, and the 3 of them sold for £9.99. So just the kind of normie little sale for me paperbacks. Next, bit of a big book. I had a few questions on this one, and one of those asking questions finally bought it. Vogue 100. So a century of style, big paperback coffee book, table type book, and that sold for £18.99. But it's going to be a £6 to get it posted, that is for sure. And I'll set that back there because it's rather cumbersome. Right, so that was £18.99, and next we've got a bundle of 5 for £12.99. Baldacci, Davy B, Heading Out the Door, Long Shadows, A Minute to Midnight, The Christmas Train, Out of Season as Ever, The Camel Club, and Daylight. So all 5 of them going for £12.99. And then another solo book. Had this for a wee while. Marlene Dietrich by her daughter Maria Riva. Marlene Dietrich, actress, singer from back in like the 30s and stuff. She was in Destiny Rides Again with Jimmy Stewart, one of my favourite films. Look it up, it's brilliant. But yeah, that sold for £8.24. So a bit of a beast, but still quite happy with that as a single book sale. Next, another little bundle. 4 proper vintage James Patterson books. What have we got? Hide and Seek, Cat and Mouse, Pop Goes the Weasel, and Black Market. So some of his earlier books. It's the old small paperbacks. They're in good condition, although the spines are a wee bit cracked on some of them. And £11.39 for that little bundle. And then we've got another individual book, £12.99 for The Joy of Sex. So these vintage self-help books, let's call them that, seem to be quite popular. I think I've got The Love and Touch kicking about somewhere as well. But yeah, that went for £12.99. So again, another nice single book sale. And then bit of an interesting bundle. Again, somebody's getting these for a wee book club or something, and it's Richard Osman, The Thursday Murder Club. So the first book and 5 copies of it. So it was a few times I've sold 5 copies of the same book. And Lassie, Leslie, if you're watching, if you do watch, let us know. Or is it for a book club? Is it because you've got people that want them? I don't know. But the 5 of them, £12.54, heading out the door. And best thing about them, it's a really easy pick. You go to one shelf, pick up 5 books. And the final sale of the day, another single item, another non-book. So Adele, live at the Royal Albert Hall, new, sealed, it's all in there. This would have been picked up 10 for £1, and that sold for £8.89. So there are definitely some DVDs out there that are worth a couple of quid. I've had it for a wee while, but you know, how much space does that take up to sit on the shelf until it sells? So £8.89 for that. And that is today's sales. I say, really disappointed that yesterday's video didn't upload. So back to the old way of doing it today, just recording it straight off of the Chromebook and the wee camera that's on it. I need to get some better kit, let's be honest. But that's a bit down the line at the moment. The video from yesterday may just suddenly upload at some point. I don't know. I'm not going to cancel it. I'm just going to let it run. See if it takes 2 days, a week, 3 weeks to finally upload. And then there'll be some weird, random, out of sync video that will just drop into the whole timeline. And we'll see what it is. But yeah, that was annoying, frustrating, to say the least. Other updates. The tracking for the month to try and keep myself on plan. So the plan is list £400 worth of items a day. Budget for buying is £35 a day, and I'm trying to make £200 in sales a day out of that. That would be including postage. So it's not £200 of sales plus postage, it's £200 in total. So on the first, we got exactly £400 worth listed. Only managed to spend 20 quid, which was a bit disappointing because the first was a Friday, and Friday's usually quite a good pickup day, but there just wasn't anything about. And we made £171 in sales, so that wasn't too bad. Yesterday, the second, I only got £317 worth listed, so it was a wee bit light, but it's the weekend, man, you know. I've got other things to do. I didn't do any pickups yesterday, so that was 0 spent, and we got £179 in sales, so the sales value is consistent, which is good. The listing value, I've got a wee bit to make up on that, but I've got a pickup to do this morning, which will hopefully be lots of bread and butter and allow me to get back on track with that one. And I've got £35 for today. I've got my £35 from yesterday, which takes us to 70, and I've got £15 left from Friday, which means I've got 85 quid to go and spend today and see what I can pick up. If there's more than that to get, I will get more than that, and it just comes off the budget from later in the week because I don't pick up every day. But so far it's kind of on track, and that £170 in sales, that's coming from last month where I was getting 320 listed every day, a wee bit more than that in some. So by pushing it up to the 400, that's why I think in the next week or so I can get up to being fairly consistent at £200 a day in sales, assuming I can find the stock and assuming it's good stock and I'm not just picking up every bit of random rubbish and listing it, because that's the key. It's not just a case of, oh, if I list £1,000 worth of goods, I will sell £1,000 worth of goods. If you list £1,000 worth of absolute bangers, you will sell them all in a day. If you list £1,000 worth of dross, you will sell nothing in a year. So, you know, you've got to get that balance right. But we'll see how it goes. This way of tracking is keeping me on point, and it's, you know, if you're consistent in one thing, then other things should become consistent just in their nature. So being consistent in what I'm listing means that my sales should become more consistent. There'll still be up and down days. You know, there'll be a day this week probably where I'll sell 40 quid's worth of stuff. It happens. But there might also be a day where I'll do 250, 300. So we'll just see how it balances out. But that's where we're at. That's what we're up to. It's Sunday morning just now, so I'm going to get this uploaded, and it should work this time because we're back to the old way of doing it, and then get these orders packed up, ready to go to the Royal Mail first thing tomorrow morning, and then head off to pick up some books. So with that, all I have to say is see ya, love ya, bye.